Welcome back to the All About Us podcast, the show that explores the stories that shape our identity. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Yanira Puy. That's a lot to say. A bilingual workplace wellness speaker, a certified coach, brain health trainer who has transformed the lives of thousands through her powerful talks, corporate programs, and workshops. After 20 years in corporate roles across Latin America and the United States, Yanira made a bold pivot to help people live healthier, more fulfilling lives. She holds a master's in health coaching and is the founder of Yanira Puy Health and Wellness, where she blends science-based strategies with heart-centered, passionate style, and yes, her humor. Yanira speaks at conferences and organizations across the U.S. and Latin America, developing powerful talks on emotional well-being, stress resilience, happiness at work, and women's health in both English and Spanish. Today, we're talking about something deeply personal and universally relatable, navigating life's most challenging transitions and finding the strength to reinvent yourself. Yanira's story of moving from heartbreak to healing offers wisdom for anyone facing their crossroads.
Carl, thank you
Yanira,
so much
welcome to
for
the
having me.
Us
I'm doing
podcast. How
well,
are you doing
and
today?
I was waiting for this interview. So thank you so much to you and to every listener out there.
I'm so happy to have you. This is actually our second day trying this. We tried this yesterday and had a little mix up. So here we are back today and, doing the show. Yanira, take us back to that turning point in your life, navigating divorce, career change, and menopause all at once.
Wow.
What did that
That's an
season teach
amazing
you?
question because I know that we all go through adversity and it's a challenge, and when it happens, all together, it's very interesting. But, I have had many turning points in my life. And what I've realized, Carl, is that every time, and basically when I got divorced almost 4 years ago, what I realized is that I had been there so many times when I had an eating disorder, when I changed countries, when I pivot my career to guide women through adversity. And what I saw is that I had a formula. And even though it was challenging because adversity knocks at your door and is like, if you're not ready, I don't care. I'm here. And I started working, again, my body,
Right.
trying to be healthy, eat right, to have energy, working on my mindset. And everything is what helped me to overcome divorce, moving again to a different country, founding my own company, and actually guiding women through adversity. So that was my turning point.
So your formula basically incorporated your body and working on your body. So working through your
Yeah,
body
I mean,
allowed you to help your mind.
if we understand
Transform
that
your
we are a
situation
whole
there.
person, it's easier to overcome anything that it's happening in your life. So when you work on your body, on movement, because movement create action, right? And when you feel stuck, right, Carl? Because sometimes we feel stuck, but if we move, we're actioning something. And part of the formula, part of, overcoming adversity or any situation is to work on yourself to feel good. So when you move, this, like when you move, your body creates endorphins, serotonin, oxytocin, and that helps you feel better. Dopamine,
That's
right?
right.
Which is, the brain coin. Every time you do that, you feel better. And when you're in the middle of a situation that you feel stuck, that you don't see the light at the end of the tunnels, because I'm not sure, but it has happened to me so many times that it's like, where am I? If I move my body, I'm going to feel better. So when I was in the middle of my divorce, when I had to like leave my home and everything, one thing that I knew and one thing that I did each morning, even though I was feeling so sad, when I was feeling broken, heartbroken, because the life as I knew it, it was gone. I did two things that were important for me that I knew it was going to make a change in myself. One thing was exercise, 1 hour at 7:30, and the other thing was meditating. Like as soon as I woke up, I meditated for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it was, because I knew I needed to work on my mindset, because if not, I was not gonna be able to overcome what I was going through. And even though it was really tough and really challenging, that helped me overcome the situation. Didn't It wasn't in one day, I have to say that, because that's the thing. When you focus on the pain, and I love this phrase, when you focus on the pain, you're gonna keep suffering. But when you focus on the lesson, you're going to keep growing and learning. And that's one of the things that I always do, and that, I invite my clients, and in every talk, you need to own your own life. You need to do things for you, because nobody's going to do it for you. And when you start asking yourself, not why, like, why me? That's a victim situation, right? But when you start thinking about what for, and that's the lesson within every adversity. And what happened to me was the best. I was in Colombia, married there, and I came back, and I've been helping so many people. And I'm sure I wouldn't have done it there. So that's the what for, because I needed to be here guiding women to overcome any change that they have in their life.
Okay. What were your first steps you began to take healing and reinventing your life, especially as a Latina woman, balancing culture,
And I
expectations,
mentioned
and
to you before, one thing that I took about healing, and this is very important, and for you that are listening right now, you need to grieve. You need to understand that instead of rushing to move on, you need to create this space to fully honor what was lost. And this could be, I mean, a relationship, a job, somebody that died. You have to grieve, because your life as it was before, it's never going to be. That's it. So
so
it was
what
amazing.
was
It was
your
amazing.
like in Colombia?
I went there for 12 years, and I worked there for CNN for several years as well, like for 8 years.
Mhm.
And at some point, I decided that I wanted to change in
Wow.
my career, because I wanted to make an impact in the world. So I was married, I had two dogs, I had a Harley Davidson motorcycle, I had a home in the countryside with a pool. So, I mean, my life was great in that sense. But I guess at some point, it needed to make a change to fulfill my dreams and to fulfill my purpose. So yes, I mean, it was great in Colombia. You know, I was speaking Spanish. I was doing a lot of things online during the pandemic. But once I got divorced, I decided to come back to the States, because I have family here, I have friends here, and the support system.
Okay, I see. Okay. You created two frameworks, Glow and Embrace, that now guide your work. How do you personal how excuse me, how
Let's
did
talk
your
about Glow.
personal
And I
experience
think
shape those tools?
Glow came alive, and I actually have a masterclass this Thursday. But Glow came alive because of my personal experience. Because I started thinking, like, how did I heal, and how I can help women do the same thing with the tools that I know that I have, and everybody have, because we have the power to create the life that we want and we desire. So I created From Breakup to Badass, and it's Glow, because it's an acronym. So the first part, as I was telling you before, is grieve with intention, right? You need to feel all the emotions, everything you have inside. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel angry. When you manage your emotions, that's emotional intelligence. That's going to help you. But you need to grieve, and you need to be in the present moment to do that. Like, real healing begins when you stop pretending that you're okay and allow yourself to feel, to really feel. So that's the G in Glow. Then you have the L, which is let go and reclaim. In this part, you learn how to release those old stories, the guilt, the attachment, that are keeping you stuck. Because what keeping us stuck is to be attached to the person, to a situation, or whatever it is that we're going through, right? Then the O is for owning your power. You'll rebuild your confidence, strengthen your boundaries, and stop letting that pain control your future. Okay, because you already grieve at the beginning. So now it's about owning your own power. And this is when you shift from the victim, like, why me, to the creator. What for? And then the
Okay.
you in glow, it's walk into the new you. The person that you were before, it's the person that you needed to be
Okay.
to overcome that. But the person that you are now, it's a different person. And it's like stepping into the identity of the woman you are becoming, the woman who leads with clarity, with love, and like unstoppable self trust. Right. So in this part, is like you'll stop surviving and you are going to start glowing, living the life that feels fully and beautifully yours. So that's what glow is: how to heal your heart, how to reclaim your power and become the
Okay.
badass woman that you were meant to be.
Okay. And
Yeah, embrace
embrace.
is a 7-step
Let's
journey.
talk about embrace. Define
It's
embrace.
basically embrace change. It's a holistic approach for navigating life's transitions. So, what you do, the 7 different steps, I go to each of them. First, your emotions. You need to feel your emotions, as I was saying before when we were talking about glow. Then you have to work on your mindset. Mindset is so important. Remember, we have
Mm-hmm.
60,000 thoughts a day. And from those 60,000 thoughts, 90% are the same today, yesterday, and tomorrow. So we're thinking the same thing 90% of the time. And this is according to research. This is not Janita based, right?
Okay.
And then from those, 80% are negative, girl. So each day
Okay.
we're thinking 80, 80% negative, according to
Okay.
research. So
80%
imagine
negative?
if I ask you, like, what do you usually
Wow.
think? Is like, okay, I don't know, am I gonna be able to pay my bills? Why did I do this in the past? Why did I marry this guy? Or am I gonna be able to talk? Whatever it is, 80% is negative. So, and another studies say that we're 5% conscious and 95% unconscious. So we're not aware of those thoughts. And another important thing when we're talking about mindset, right, is that your thinking, your
Okay.
thought determines the way you feel your emotions, and your emotions determine the actions that you take. So thought determines emotion, and emotions determines the actions, and the actions that you take, they create your life, they create your future, right? So if I'm feeling all the time negative things, what emotions are associated with those thoughts? Sadness, anxious, like negative feelings, right? And what actions am I going to take if I feel like I'm a loser, I cannot do this? I'm not going to
Correct.
do anything. So, mindset is very important in an embrace, because once you can change your mindset through different things, through meditation, affirmations, changing your perspective, whatever it is, like the tools, that's going to help you, create the life that you deserve and overcome the life transitions. Then you have the body. Again, it's so important to take care of yourself. If you take care of yourself, what are you telling your mind? That you love yourself because I'm eating right, because I wake up early in the morning, because I exercise, because I sleep well.
Mm-hmm.
So you're giving the body the right tools and the nutrients that it needs to pick you up every day, because adversity, it's challenging, right? Then resilience.
Mm-hmm.
I love resilience, and everything that I'm talking about is something that you can learn. I always say, like, hey, like, in my talks, like, can you see my muscles? Do you think I was born like that? And everybody's like, no, exactly. Resilience, we were not born
Mm-hmm.
resilient, right? But it's something that you can create. And I teach people how to build resilience, right? Which is resilience is the way that we adapt to change in how we bounce back even stronger than we were before, right? And how do you create resilience? Well, you can teach yourself. You can do things that are out of your comfort zone. You can take a cold plunge like the one that I did for 3 minutes last week. That helps you build resilience. Meditating, exercise helps you build resilience. Then the A in embrace for awareness. Carl, if we want to change our life, we need to be aware of who we are right now, what we're thinking, and everything. So remember, again, we're 5% conscious, 95% unconscious. We need to be aware of what we're thinking, of those 80% negative thoughts, so we can change them. Maybe you're going to say, Janita, I mean, I'm not going to be able to remember 60,000 thoughts. It's okay. But if you're aware, if you live in the present moment, if you practice gratitude, all of this is going to take you to the present moment, which is the only place that you can do something, right? That you can action. And I told you 90% of our thoughts are the same every single day. And usually we're great at mental travel, like human beings. Right? We go from the past to the future, from the future to the past. Like if I go to the past, it's like, why did I marry this guy? Why didn't I not take that job? If we go to the future, we're anxious because the future is uncertain. So it's like, okay, am I going to be able to make it in this business? Am I going to be able to find another person? Whatever it is. But when you concentrate in the present moment, you're not going to be thinking about the past and the future if you're present in every single thing that you do. So I teach that. Then the C of embrace is for connections. I'm not sure if you have heard of the blue zones, but blue zones are 5 different places in the world that people live longer and healthier. And one of the things that they got in all the research that they have done is that it's the connections, it's the community. If you're isolated, you're not going to be able to overcome things as easier or faster than you would if you are in the present moment, a support system. There is a research that says that women who are around other women and kids, your body releases oxytocin. Oxytocin is a chemical in your body that it's gonna help you relax. So of course, I want to be more relaxed. I want to feel good. Get together with people. And finally, the E of embracement, it's for empowerment. It's taking your life in your hands because you're the only one who can build the life that you desire and deserve.
Okay, now a lot of this is based upon a struggle that you had with healing from your relationship. I want to kind of digress here. What do you feel is the actual state of relationships between men and women in marriage in this day and age? Do you feel
What
like
would be your
marriage
attack
is
for?
under attack? And why? Well, what I mean by under attack is today you find less and less people actually getting married. As you transition back in time, you'd grow up as you got 18, 19, 20 years old. Not only would you pursue a career, but you would find one person and the two of you would get married. And most people, live together. I mean, in marriage. In fact, as a child, we were kind of the oddballs out because, me and my sisters, because we lived in a household where my mother had gotten divorced from our father, and we had, we had a stepfather, but they didn't get married for several years. And so there was kind of, there was kind of a little stigma. We didn't realize it. Well, we did realize it, but there was a stigma towards us and our family because of that. And so, but now at these day and ages, you have people, they don't live together. I mean, they start living together, they don't get married at all. You have now, especially here in the United States, and I find it talking to several people in other countries, the economic stress that a lot of people are in, they're like, I can't afford to even get married. I can't afford to have children. I can't afford to buy a home. So that's what I mean. Do you see a change in the way people approach relationships today versus how they approached
This is
relationships
what I think are,
years ago in the
my
past?
opinion, right? But I think, before we had this formula that our parents, grandparents, that we needed to like study, like go to school, then go to the university, then find a job, then buy a car, then buy a house, get married, have kids, save, grow old, retire, die. So that's what we thought that we needed to do. And I think new generations are understanding that, I mean, maybe that's not the formula. Maybe there's another formula. And remember that all this security, maybe it comes from, our grandparents. They went to work, they have to immigrate to a different country. So maybe they needed that security, but I don't think there is a written formula on how you have to do that. I think people are challenging, the way that they should live. And maybe I don't know, maybe I don't need to buy a house. Maybe I can rent for the rest of my life so I can move everywhere. I mean, I thought before I spent 15 years working for the same company, and before like 4 years, but I came to the States to do my master's in business. So I stopped working there, but I'm sure I would have been there for 20 years. Like my brothers, they have been working for 30 years for the same company. So my point is that maybe that's not the way. Maybe if I want to change companies, I can. So when you're saying, is it in jeopardy, like marriage? I mean, marriage is a paper. Love is challenging because you have to work every single day if you want to be in a relationship. And I have to tell you something. I don't think love is enough. Like if you're completely in love with a person, that's not enough. You have to communicate. You have to work every day. Maybe you have to go on dates every week.
No.
If you have kids, I don't have kids, but my ex-husband, he has 2 kids. And life with the kids at home, 50% of the time, it was completely different. I mean, it was all the time like do your homework in your bed, like your bedroom, and it was tough. I mean, I had a great marriage in the sense that, we had the kids 50% and the other 50%, we were working on ourselves, right? And we had dates every night because we were just the two of us. But it's challenging. So for me, love is not enough, and marriage, it's just a paper. But if you want to stay together with somebody, you need to work on it every day. It's like a plant. You need to talk to the plant. You need to put water. Just like everything is, it's just like the muscles in your body. If you want to have muscles for the rest of your life, you have to lift weights. That's it. So to answer your questions, I think it has changed, but hopefully for the good reasons.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm in agreement. I mean, relationships take a lot of work. They take a lot of work. And a lot of people don't realize when you have children, that throws a whole totally different dynamic into the relationship. Culture has really moved fast forward, and in that cultural change, we find more growth and development in women today, more empowerment in women. And for some men, that can be a challenge. It can be a challenge. And so, working at it, communication and growing, that's important. But just like you said, you have to
Yep.
work at it,
And
communication. And the biggest thing is you
and
really have
both
to
of
be
you have
committed
to
to it.
want to be together. And that's the thing. Is like, I think today it's easier to say, I'm going to get a divorce instead of working together, because working together means maybe go to therapy, maybe put in the time, maybe like listen to the other person.
Exactly.
In my case, we had a communication problem. Again, like I really, I really loved him, and I love him still in the sense that, I hope he has a great life. I love everything around my marriage and my divorce because it made me grow. But our problem was a communications. We didn't communicate. However, we did what we could with the tools that we had. So right now, I don't think I would do the same. And I'm sure he wouldn't do the same either. So hopefully, like we're growing from every single adversity that we have.
Communication is big because once again it makes me laugh because I've been in my last couple of relationships, and it's kind of funny because you will say something and then when you listen to that person's response, they're like talking about something else totally different. They're not, it's like they didn't even hear you, or they're not even addressing in totality what you're communicating or what you want an answer to. And it's like, wow, did you even hear what I just asked me? Because it's so much different. And we don't realize the communication styles, they can be so different. Me being an Aquarius, I'm very direct and I expect yes and no answers. Whereas you have other people, they can't answer the yes or no. They talk in circles. So I'm expecting like a 1 or 2 word answer, and you're giving me like a paragraph. And now I have to go through this entire paragraph to really understand and decipher the answer that you were giving me. So relationships, a relation. How did you embrace your roots, rituals, ancestral wisdom, and support your journey through grief, healing, and growth? And I'm going to tell you, I haven't been to South America, but I spent a lot of time in Puerto Rico. And the Latin culture is just so much different than what it is here in the United States. Actually, I'm in the process of moving to Puerto Rico. So I believe that Puerto Rico and Colombia probably have similar vibes. Have you ever been to Puerto Rico? And so tell me a little bit about your culture and how you use that to build you and strengthen you, and the rituals and how all that was incorporated into glow
For me,
in
the most important
your
thing
other
and
facets of
how,
development.
the culture, the Latin families, how it work is that I think for me it was the support system. We're very into it, right? And for example, when I got divorced, my family was there for me 100%. My
Right.
friends, like I would meet them not every day, but like every week, and I would cry and they would hold me and they would say,
Mhm.
okay, do you want us to go and do something to him, my ex-husband? I'm like, no, 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 like no. I mean, they were kidding, but we are so we're we like have very strong connections. What?
Family
Yeah, I
oriented.
think for me that's
Yeah,
how
strong, very strong family connections.
how my culture helped me. And we're big in music and in dancing, so I incorporated
Right.
that. It was funny, but
Music,
I didn't want to say that, but yes, drinking was involved.
eating, drinking.
Definitely. It's part of the culture.
Well, no, it's part of the culture. I mean, when you go out to Puerto Rico, people like to go out. They like to eat, and while you're eating, they have a drink. People like to dance. You find people dancing in the streets. Music playing outside buildings, and people just
For example,
dancing.
yesterday
It's just a
went
whole
out to a
different
concert, to a Shakira concert, right? Here in Atlanta. And we rented a suite in the stadium, in the arena, and we were all women. We were all Latinas. Well, there was a Russian there who knew the songs. Like she wants to be a Latina as well.
vibe.
And I mean, we didn't stop dancing, taking pictures, hugging, crying because we were so happy. And yes, so for me, my culture and my Latino friends and family helped me glow and rise and, embrace everything. And they let me feel what I was feeling at that time. And I really embraced that. And I couldn't have done it without the support system that I had. So that's what matter, that they opened the doors for me of their houses. They opened the wine and they let me cry on the shoulders, literally. Yeah. I did.
Okay, so you went to a Shakira concert last night.
It was amazing. It
And
was
how was
amazing.
that?
And in
How was
Shakira has
that?
been a performance for her whole life, right? So I met her, well, not meet her, but I mean, I sang her songs since I can remember, and I went to concerts in Venezuela. after so many years, maybe, I don't know, 30 years that I saw her the first time, seeing her yesterday, it made me remind me so many things of, when I was younger, and being surrounded by all these beautiful Latinas, so much energy. Was
The culture's beautiful. The culture's beautiful. Shakira, she's timeless. Hips don't lie. That song is timeless. I mean, and so yeah, and right now she is actually doing a world tour. I'm glad.
I always get up. I'm a very professional person. I had my wine, I had food, but I danced so much that I'm recovered by the morning.
Okay, okay. What would you say to a woman listening right now who feels like her world is falling apart? What's the
The first
first
thing
thing
is
she
that
should do to start over again?
just feel whatever you're feeling. Don't judge yourself. Don't criticize yourself. Look at the past and look how many times you have overcome adversity, and you got this. You're gonna make it. Just feel whatever you're feeling
Mhm.
and just go from there one day at a time. That's what I would say. I have you.
You've worked with
Yeah.
you work with thousands of people through corporate programs and workshops. What are some of the common patterns you see in how people get stuck?
It's mindset.
And how do you help
It's
them
always
break
mindset.
through
Every
being
time
stuck?
I do, for example, one-on-one coaching,
Mhm.
and they come to me and they, maybe they want to lose some weight or they want to eat better. It always start from here. So when you change your mindset, you're able to change your life. And on one of the first exercises that I do is the limiting beliefs. So a limiting belief is something that you think it's true, but it's blocking you
Mhm.
or stopping you from the life that you were meant to be. And I did this many years ago with one coach because I do believe in coaches. And I started doing when you have a limiting belief, you want to change it to an empowering belief, right? And then through programming your brain in front of a mirror, for example, every single day you can change what you believe. So the most blocking or limiting belief that you have is self-love, right? So the first thing that I invite people to do in an exercise, it's looking yourself at the mirror, maybe after your shower, and start, caressing yourself, looking at the mirror with a smile and say, I love and I accept myself just the way I am. And that is so powerful. When I first did it, I did it for like maybe 8 months. I don't know. Every single morning after my shower, every single morning, it takes no more than 30 seconds. And with a smile, I was looking at me and I was,
Mhm.
looking at my gray hair and the cellulite and everything, but I was smiling. I love and I accept myself just the way I am. And when you do that over and over, you're reprogramming your brain so it can feel that. And when you do that, you need to feel the emotions. Every time we want to manifest or, visualize whatever it is, it's the thought. So you visualize it, you see it, you feel it, and you repeat it
Mhm.
over and over. And when you do that, you can change your
Mhm.
mindset or you can change that belief. So I would recommend that's the first one thing because I know it's tough and I know you're broken for whatever is going on in your life, but this too shall pass.
Well, one of the most transforming things that I believe a lot of
Mhm.
people don't really catch on to is your words are powerful. Your words are transformational. And so before you accomplish something, before you attain something,
Mhm.
before you change something, you really have to speak it first. Once you start speaking it, it goes down into you, it goes into your spirit, and then it goes out into the ethers. And things start changing, moving, and manifesting. So, your words are actually the power of your creation. So you speak it, you believe it, and then things start working and changing. And I really don't think people embrace or understand the power of their words. And that's really important. As someone who speaks both English and Spanish across different cultures, how do you adapt your message about wellness and healing for different
All right, that's a
audiences
great question.
and still maintain authenticity?
Every time I'm going to do a talk, either if it's in Spanish or English, I talk to, the people who are hire me or they want me to speak. So I speak to a lot of an entrepreneur woman, Latina woman here. I speak to older adults because I volunteer at the Latin American Association.
Okay.
I speak at companies that usually have, both men and women.
Mhm.
So I need to understand my audience so I can change my speech and change the stories, that I'm saying. So I think, it's funny in English, of course, I have an accent. I
Mhm.
cannot know, like people are gonna know that I'm a Latina or I'm from other place, right? Because of my accent. And sometimes if I'm speaking fast, my words they sound a little bit different. So I always say that, I'm just gonna lay it out there. I know that I sound like
Right.
Sofia Vergara in Modern Family, but I'm just gonna tell you what she tells her husband in one of the episodes. She said, like, do you know how smart I sound in Spanish? So once I do that, that's my authenticity. I'm not trying to be somebody else for different audience, but so that's that I do in
Right.
the night when I'm speaking English, right?
Mhm.
When I'm talking to Latina entrepreneurs, I mean, I give a lot of stories related to my life as a women entrepreneur here in the States. So I tweak, even though I could be talking about embrace, I did several talks about embrace during March, the Women's History Month. And it's the same talk, it's just different stories related to the talk. So when I'm talking about with entrepreneurs, when I'm talking about mindset, and it's like,
Okay.
okay, I know that you think that you cannot make it in this business, but yes, you can do it. And I tell my story from there and the things that I have done, because if I can do it, they can do it too. So it's knowing your target. I talk about the same thing. I talk about wellness, and I talk about the mind body connection and how you can have a healthy fulfilled life, and the tools are the same. It doesn't matter who I'm talking to, I just address it in a different way. And I do corporate wellness. So I've had talks with Coca-Cola, Edward Jones, Manhattan Associates, United Way, and it depends. I've had talks with women, just women, which is beautiful, and women and men. So again, it's just knowing your audience
Mhm.
and know what stories are going to be good for them so they can get the message. And one of the things that I always see every time that I talk, and it's beautiful because it makes me enforce, like, okay, yes, I'm here and I'm in the right place. And every time I talk, a woman comes to me and said, like, you gave me hope, and that just fills my heart. And this is the reason that I got divorced and I came back here, so I can help women like the ones that are listening to me, help them create that life, amazing life that they deserve, just like I did.
Okay, great. Now, you have an interesting background and career arc. Okay, you worked for
I was
CNN
off
for
air, so
15
I
years.
worked for Turner
Were you
Broadcasting
off air or
System in
on
one
air
of the
for
networks, the
CNN?
CNN. But if I say Turner, nobody knows because it has changed the name so many times.
Yeah, they were big.
Right. Now is Warner Bros.
I
Discovery.
remember Turner. Turner
That's the name
Broadcasting was
right now.
big when I was
So
young.
I work
Right.
with TNT, Cartoon Network, CNN. I work with all the brands, all the different networks. So I was off air. However, I did so many interviews that I was on air as well. I was a marketing director
Wow.
for Latin
What was your
America. So
what
I
was
was
your
in
actual
charge of all
job?
the marketing for many, many countries for all the 17 networks. It was a great job. Great job. Yeah.
Okay, I believe it. I believe it. And so now you've transitioned into day. What is your actual day job? What do you consider your career versus your public speaking versus your wellness and fitness? It's like you are like, you have so much going on. And
Oh,
how do
so
you
many. I'm
balance
a
all
cook,
that?
I'm a
What's your day
trainer,
job?
I'm a cleaner. I have all the hats. I'm a singer. I'm a public figure. It's funny, yeah. But I mean, my job is to transform lives. It's to guide women to create the life that they deserve, that they desire, a healthy life.
Okay.
So that's my job. So everything that I do, I take my mission, right? And everything I do is around that. It's to guide people, to help people to be healthier and happier. So that's engraved in everything that I do. If I'm cooking, right, I need to nurture my body in a way that I can be here healthy because I need to be the example because if I'm saying, "Hey, eat right," I cannot be eating things that are not for that or not help me because I need to walk the talk not that I need to, I walk the talk. I'm 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 an example that you can do everything. So my day job is to guide people to a happier and better life. So everything I do, I have that in mind. But I do coaching 101. I do workshops, I do master class, I do public speaking, and it's all the time is changing. The things that I do. I have a podcast in Spanish. Sorry, I cannot invite you. Go to Puerto Rico, learn Spanish, and then I can invite you. But I do have a podcast. We have been on for 3.5
Okay.
saludablemente.
And what
Okay.
is the name
It's
of
the
the
podcast
podcast for
name.
all of our Latin
And
listeners?
we have great interviews, most of them women, and we talk about wellness. We have so many topics. We have 124 episodes. Every single Thursday, we have been recording a new episode or launching a new episode. So I do that. I have the podcast with my business partner, the one that I do the podcast with. We also have coaching, a group coaching program that is called Saludablemente Mujer, the same as the podcast. And so we do that for 2 months every year. So that's been great. And I have a master class that I'm doing for Glow so I can teach people how to do that. And that's gonna go into workshop format as well. So I just, I'm here to guide people and, be an example that yes, you can have a great life. Whatever you're going through, you can have a great and healthy life. You just have to work on yourself. I'm based in Atlanta, Georgia.
And you're based out of Atlanta, correct? Yeah, and I was surprised. Is there, I'm just going to say this, is there a big Latin community in Georgia? I
Yes,
haven't been to Georgia for years.
I'm involved in a lot of
So,
things.
yeah,
As I mentioned, I
okay, that's
every month
interesting.
volunteer at the Latin American Association. I have given workshops there. I volunteer for the older adults and the Latina entrepreneurs. And I'm very involved in the community, in the Latino community, because I really want to help that. I'm also a board member of the Atlanta Latinx alumni, because I went to Emory. So I'm part of the board. I'm president elect. And I do a lot of things involving Latinos as well. So we can, I mean, I want to help Latinos to be heard in anything that they do, and that's something that I can do through Emory University. So that's good. That's good as well. Yeah.
Let's talk about brain health. You're a certified brain health trainer. What is that? And how does that really play a role in what you
I
do
got certified
and the
as a
services you provide?
in 2023 with Amen University. There's a doctor. His name is Dr. Daniel Amen, and he's been taking pictures of the brain for like 30 years, right? And so he came up with this 11 things that you have to do to have a good brain. And it all comes down most of the to the same thing. It's about what you feed your brain with. So the food, the supplements, the ends, the automatic negative thoughts that I mentioned before, like how you change that. It's about movement. It's about lowering inflammation, give oxygen to your brain, not drinking, not smoking, not drugs. So it was very interesting. And I study every day. So every day I'm reading books, I'm listening to podcasts so I can help, so I can have more tools and more science based research that I can show to my clients as well. you know? So that's why I became a brain health trainer, just because I wanted to know more and more and more.
Hmm. Well, you know what, and I try to keep the show apolitical, but you being a brain health trainer here in the United States, there's so many different communities right now that are under attack by this presidential administration. What do you feel right now, America today, our government, what impact is that having upon people in your culture? And what are they talking about? What are their concerns? How are they coming together to get over the
Look, I'm
next
not political person.
craziness?
I can say that people are worried, they're anxious,
Mhm.
and what I would recommend is breathe.
That's right.
There are things that you can control and there are things that you cannot control. You cannot control whatever, the government is doing,
Control.
but you can control your thoughts, you can control your emotions. And I know that it must be tough, for you if you're listening, or maybe not for you, but for somebody that you know. And the thing that you can do is you can control you.
Mhm.
That's it. So breathe, work on your thoughts, meditate, exercise. If you're feeling anxious, just breathe in. I love emotions, Carl, and I'm just gonna say something that it might be important for some people or for everybody, but emotions are a burst of chemicals that are ignite and absorbed in your body in 6 seconds, right? So emotions are chemicals. If you wait
Mhm.
90 seconds, that's a minute and a half, 90 seconds,
Okay.
and you don't do anything. So you're angry, you're anxious,
Mhm.
you want to yell to your partner, I don't know, whatever you want to do, just wait 90 seconds because that emotion, that anger, the sadness, it's going to go away most likely. And you have the power to control your emotions. I know
Mhm.
it's tough. Situations make us feel those emotions. But if you breathe in and breathe out for 90 seconds very slowly, I promise you're going to find a way to manage that. You're going to let all those chemicals to dissolve in your body. So that's something that might help. I mean, it helps me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned that menopause was your perfect storm. How do you help women navigate that life stage and also dealing with other things, major things which they may be
Yeah,
transitioning through
this is what is happening.
in that point or
Women
that
might
stage in their life?
who are dealing with perimenopause. So it's the before of menopause is just one day. Is the day after 12 months that you don't get your period. So, but before, I mean, symptoms, and this is very tough. I've learned so much because my business partner, she's a menopause coach. She's my personal coach. And I have given also talks about menopause.
Mhm.
And the thing is that when you are in this stage, symptoms, and for Latina women, I mean, for Black and Latina, it could take 9 or 10 years with the symptoms. So imagine night sweats, hot flashes, brain fog, extra weight on your belly, like so many things. There are like more than 40 different symptoms in menopause that people don't even know. And when you're at this age,
Wow.
in your 40s,
Right.
50s, most likely things are happening to you. Maybe a divorce, right? Empty nester, changing careers, like thinking about, changing. So there are things because we're in the middle of our time in this earth, hopefully, if we get to 100. So there are many things that are going on when you're in your 50s and it's in menopause. So it's really tough. Like all my friends are in perimenopause. So we're all in the same stage. So imagine not in April for me, really, I was waking up 7 times during the night because I was hot. And people are like, but can you just turn down the AC? It's not the AC, it's your body. It's inside your body. The hotness is inside you. And then falling sleep again and then waking up because I was cold. So that's 14 times. It was unbearable. So I couldn't sleep. I was cranky. I was not focused. I was very emotional. It's tough. it's really, and nobody tells you anything. So you're like, I mean, I thought nothing is gonna happen to me. I mean, I eat right. You always think that it's not gonna happen to you, but it happens, right? Because I'm like, I meditate, I work out. So it's been challenging. And what I mean, I help women with the same thing. So for me, I gain weight in my belly, and that's normal because of the fluctuation of the hormones, the estrogen, the progesterone, and testosterone. So I'm loving myself. I'm like, okay, if I'm not wearing a size 2, I can wear a 4 for now. Why, I'll
Okay.
figure this out. I'm changing my diet because I know that I needed more protein. I
Right.
didn't know before. Now that I know, I'm changing my diet. I'm eating more protein. I'm eating breakfast. So it's about the same thing. It's about my mindset. Okay. I talked to myself in April because I couldn't stand myself. I was like a victim. And I'm like, okay, at some point it's like, this is enough.
Mm-hmm.
You got it. I know you're cranky. I know you can't sleep, but get out of this as soon as you can. So it's that's the mindset part. I still take care of myself. I felt for a month all the emotions until I said to myself, this is enough. So it's about the same thing that I talk in Embrace. It's about this the same thing that I talk about in Glow. Everything, it goes back to the basic. You know, like last week I was in Austin, Texas for a biohacking conference, everything related to wellness. They have these amazing machines that help you, the biocharger, blah, 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 blah. But it goes down to the basic. Like every talk, it's about changing your mindset, being positive, it's about meditating, it's about eating right, it's about movement. So we need to integrate our body, our mind, our spirit, because we're a whole person and we're different people, like inside of us and personalities. But if they're all related, if we understand that, if we ask questions, like there is this phrase, I think it says something like the quality of your life depends on the quality of the questions as you ask yourself. Ask yourself questions like, why do I feel this way? Like, why am I angry? Because you have the answers. Nobody else have the answers for you. You know that, but you need to ask you questions. And I mean, I invite you to ask lots of questions. This is the part of self-knowledge that is very important, because if you want to be happier, you need to understand how to get there, what triggers you, what not, what you're feeling, how to, feel your emotions, but also control them so they don't control you. So I don't remember the question. I kept talking.
Wow. Well, no, yeah, I mean, you talked about it, it's basically, we were talking about menopause and how in going through, that stage and dealing with all the different changes
Mm.
and transitions. I didn't know there were 40 symptoms associated with menopause, but yeah, I mean, now I understand it's such a huge transformational period for women. What role does humor play in your speaking style and the healing process? How do you balance addressing serious topics um,
Uh,
with
I mean,
mixing
for
in
me,
light
and I
humor
don't know if
in the
it's a Latino
process?
thing, but all my friends that were so funny all the time. So for me, when I'm speaking, when I'm coaching, I mean, humor is there. Of course, you have to be professional, but it is important. I remember last year
Right.
I did a talk at the National Speakers Association, and I was opening. We were different speakers, and I was opening in the morning and everything. So I just came to the audience like they didn't know what I was gonna say. I sang a song, just a few lines of a song, and then I'm like, I always dreamt, to be a singer, an actress. And I said, and even a dancer, and I did some movement, and everybody was laughing. So that was funny. So I always try to incorporate that, and every time that I talk, I have a story. I have a story to tell. You connect with the stories. Of course, I have information that is good information if I'm going to talk about um I don't know, about nutrition and everything, but I incorporate things that are relatable to people so they can understand, like, if I'm here, it's because I made it happen. However, things happened to me in the past, but I made it happen here. But yes, humor is something really important every time that I talk. Maybe again, it's a Latina thing. I don't know. I don't know.
Right. You're very energetic. You're very passionate.
Hmm.
But I'm sure there are days when you don't feel that way. What do you actually do
Look,
to
yes.
motivate yourself and generate
Sometimes
that
I'm not like
energy?
this. However, my friends, when I came back, they were like, "You're toxic positive. You're too positive." I'm like, I don't know. What's the alternative? Like being negative?
Mhm,
I'm like this
mhm,
most of the time. What do I do
mhm,
to be like this?
mhm,
It comes back to the same thing. I meditate, and I meditate, like I open my eyes and I start meditating.
mhm,
Not today, because I was in a concert yesterday and I woke up later than I should.
mhm,
But I meditate every day, and that gets me in a very good mood at the beginning of the day.
mhm,
I exercise. I already exercised for 45 minutes today.
mhm,
That gets me going, and that gives me energy. And I
mhm,
eat right, and I eat the food that gives me energy as well. So, and I do a lot of gratitude. I think that's something that if we are grateful and if we practice gratitude, life changes forever in a good way. So
mhm,
as soon as I wake up, I open the windows and I say, "Good morning." And I say good morning to my plants. I don't have any pets anymore. And I even say good morning to my fake plant. So that's what I do. And I'm grateful. I never said,
okay.
like, when I got divorced, it was very painful, but I was, sometimes it's hard to be grateful in a situation like that, but I
Mhm,
always incorporate it. And I remember a year
mhm,
after I got divorced, I was here and I was given a talk to women in jail, right? So I put together a beautiful talk about the things, because these women were part of the reentry program. But I mean, those women, I didn't know if they had been in jail for 6 months or 20 years. So when I was putting together the talk, I'm like, what am I going to say? I cannot say, well, don't drink wine, because I mean, they don't even have the option to drink any wine. Anyway, after 2 hours, it
mhm.
was beautiful because they asked me, it was for
Right.
this Hispanic Heritage Month, and they asked me to do the talk in Spanish, but then it's like, well, some people don't speak Spanish. And I don't know how I did it. I think God, the universe, or however you call it was with me in that moment. And I did it in English and Spanish, and they would ask me questions in Spanish, and I would answer in Spanish, and then English. I would translate. It was beautiful. And after I finished the talk, I started crying because I was so happy. I was so emotional. And I said, this is what for. This is
Mhm,
this is why things happened to me. This is why I needed to get divorced, because I was fulfilling a purpose. I was giving hope to people. So, and I was grateful. And every time, if I think about, well, like, I don't have anybody by my side right now. I mean, I would love to, because I do believe in love. However, I'm like, okay, but I have time
mhm,
to do everything that I want,
mhm,
to wake up, to meditate. Maybe if I'm with
mhm,
somebody, I wouldn't be able. My point is, if you practice grateful in your life with what you have and what you don't have, your mindset changes. So everything that you can do to be grateful about, the roof, the food, or even my belly. I don't like it, but my menopause belly is there. So I'm just okay. So I'm a little bit more heavier. It's okay. It's my body rearranging things. So my body is a
mhm,
perfect machine. So I'm grateful for that. So
mhm, mhm. Okay. Okay. So it seems like your divorce unleashed you, and so you don't feel like if you remained married,
no, because
you would have
I would have been in
accomplished
my
the
comfort
things
zone.
that you're doing now.
Yes. Now it's just me. I have to get out there. I have to pay my bills, and it has pushed me even further. So maybe
Mhm,
it would have taken me longer with him. I don't know. I don't know, but I don't get stuck in the past, right? Because that's the past. I cannot do anything about it. I can just say that
Right.
it it was amazing being married, and it was amazing getting divorced as well.
Well, once again, that's being honest. Now we're going to transition. We're going to go into this part of the show because we're winding down golf flip mode. And that means
Okay,
you get to
I
ask me
didn't
three
prepare for
questions.
this,
And
but
I get to answer your three questions.
okay, so I have these questions that you can answer
Mhm.
in one sentence, in one line, or whatever you want to answer. If you could change
Mhm.
one habit
Mhm.
in everybody in the world, so if you have a magic wand and you can say, everybody has to do this, what would it be?
Mhm.
Wow.
Lying would be
Never
forbidden. No more lying.
about that, but yeah, that's beautiful. Okay, no lying. That would be amazing. That would help a lot of things.
No lying.
Yeah.
A lot of problems. A lot of problems would disappear, and and just trait wise, when a person isn't being genuine, and when they're hiding, and really, just doing things that you're unaware of, whether it's personal, business, even just casual friendship. It's just a dark seed that's just laying there waiting to erupt. And so I don't like lying, and I think
I
I
know.
think it's
Okay,
probably
next question.
one of the worst
If
traits.
you
So
had the chance
next question.
tomorrow to meet with 15-year-old Carl, and with everything that you know about life right now, what would be the advice to your 15-year-old Carl version?
I wouldn't want to warn myself what was ahead. I just tell myself,
Beautiful. Okay,
just keep going.
third and last
It's going to be
question.
all right.
What does it mean to you, well-being or wellness? What does that word mean to you?
Wellness and well-being to me starts with personal peace. You have to be happy within yourself. You have to be happy with yourself. That means spiritually, physically, and emotionally. And a lot of different people struggle with different aspects of that. Some people are struggling with the physical aspect of it. Some people are struggling with the mental aspect of it. Some people are struggling with the spiritual aspect of it. But you have to try to bring peace into all of those areas in your life. And we're only here for a very small period of time here. And this is something I try to communicate to people. Life is about relationships, meaningful relationships that you can create great memories. And you can't have great relationships and create great memories if you're not at peace with yourself. And memories are important because memories are the only thing we can take with us into our next life. So, it's being at peace with yourself in as many areas of your life as you can. I think that's one of the more important things that
Beautiful.
a lot of us don't recognize and don't focus on. Well, we're getting ready to close out this show. What's one piece of ancestral wisdom or cultural tradition that has been particularly healing for you that you would like to share with our listeners
Well,
that they might be able
it's
to adapt into
ancestral.
their lives?
I mean, I have like,
Cultural.
I guess I'm gonna say two things. First is, you got this. All right. You
Mhm.
got this. And this is gonna pass. Just hang in there, because everything that you need is inside of you. And if you trust yourself and if you trust the process, you're gonna overcome this. So that's something that I would tell everybody. And one practice that I would recommend, one thing, if we have talked about so many things, about emotions, about meditation, the mindset, so many practices, but if you want to do just one thing, because you cannot start doing 10 things at a time, but if you do one thing and you make it a habit, it's going to be easier to change what you want to change in your life. So what I would recommend, if you want to start with something and if you don't do it, just write 3 things each day that you're grateful for. That's it. One habit. Do it every day, every night. You can write it down.
Okay, just
And it could be small, it could be big, it could be I got invited to dinner, it could be like the concert, it could be I got to exercise for 10 minutes. It doesn't matter. Just start being grateful for what you have and what you don't have. That's it.
Janelle, I want to thank you so much for sharing your story, your journey with us today. Your story reminds us that even in the darkest moments, we have the power to rebuild and rise stronger than before. For our listeners, we want to connect you with Janelle and learn more about her work. Where can they find you at online? We're going to have our links. My assistant's going to get all your
Yeah, you can
information.
find
But
me
tell
at
us very quickly, where
janirapuy.com.
can my listeners reach you
Yanira
at
Puy
online?
on Instagram, or in Spanish, in English would be Yanira Puy Wellness. I just started that account because I've been speaking Spanish on a lot of things. And now that I moved back to the States, I'm like, okay, maybe I need to have an English account as well. Reach out, talk to me. If you want to have a discovery session with me, I'm here. I just would love to guide as many women as I can. If you want me to speak at one of your events, I'm also here. I have different topics like embrace, like glow, resilience, happiness at work, everything around wellness. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And to everyone listening, remember that your story isn't over. It's still being written. Whether you're facing heartbreak, transition, or simply looking for your next chapter, you have everything within you to create all that you desire. Thank you for joining us on the All About Us podcast. I'm Carl Allen. And until next time, keep exploring what makes you you. Have a great day, everyone.